Differing from the countless genres of film fiction, the purpose of the documentary, as I understand it, is to represent life in a way in which it is lived. In 1926, John Grayson, the pioneer of filmic art documentary, defined it as a creative treatment of actuality, and since then, documentary as a whole has been shifting its shape and continually being refined. Film scholar Bill Nicholas produced a documentary Bible of sorts where he exposes the categories or genre groupings of the many voices of documentary, forming both conventions, expectations, and a loose structure in which practicing individuals may work. These modes include poetic, expository, participatory, observational, reflexive, and performative. Throughout this presentation, I will be focusing on the analysis of the content, style, and mode of Leonardo D'Alessandri's 2014 visual masterpiece, Watchtower of Turkey. This informed analysis will support the statement that Watchtower of Turkey simultaneously presents an individualistic form and a clear and obvious example of the poetic mode of documentary. Watchtower of Turkey is an energetic, spontaneous, fast-paced, and alive photographic exploration of D'Alessandri's travels of 3,500 kilometers in 23 days throughout 6 different cities of Turkey. It is as much a visionary homage to the people of Turkey as it is a poetic documentary. Audiences are treated to a plethora of captured nature, skies, people, landscapes, and many other attractions, all edited succinctly and rhythmically into a 3-minute and 32-second vividly colorful, utterly encapsulating filmic explosion. As you can see from this clip, the visuals are completely nonlinear, building and falling, cutting and hyperlapsing, slow motioning and freezing, all following along with the rhythm of the orchestral piece of music which D'Alessandri used as the foundation of his editing. The sound design is mostly associated to an initial subject of what is on screen, i.e. a plane, which then continues even on a new clip that is being played, i.e. a bird flying. This element assists in creating a sense of continuity and smoothness between the random depictions of people and culture of Turkey. To quote D'Alessandri, "When I'm making films, I'm making music. Images, footage, clips. For me, it's all music. Silence is music. If you are able to transform silence into music, you are a good director." There is only one piece of dialogue heard within the film, which is a whispered poem, immediately evoking certain emotions, setting the tone of the film, drawing the audiences in, and capturing their attention. Within this content and individualistic style, it is evident that the poetic mode of documentary rises to the surface and each element becomes validated. Sharing commonalities within the practices of the modernist avant-garde, the poetic mode of documentary exhibits to viewers a personalized and conceptual depiction of reality through the use of specific methods, including nonlinear or discontinuous narrative, emphasized visuals, and expressive use of sound. Nicholas states the poetic mode began in tandem with modernism, as a way of representing reality in terms of a series of fragments, subjective impressions, incoherent acts, and loose associations. In many theoretical publications, there is a major stress on the idea of creating a perplexing but honest works of art through fragmentation and obscurity, multiple perspectives being created from breaking up time and space. This wholly describes Watchtower of Turkey. A narrative is not present, there is an utter disregard for time and space, and each clip is literally a fragment of his journey through Turkey. Throughout Watchtower of Turkey, no two clips are connected, in a storytelling sense, but with flashes of similar aesthetics, including colour, movement, story, and manipulation of where the viewer's eye travels within a clip, creating and ensuring immaculate flow, rhythm, and continuity within the chaos. There is no script. As you can see in the video, it is impossible to have a script. I was trying to tell my story, to tell the story of a country in which I travelled. It is not just a travel video where I show architecture. I tried to talk with the people to understand what they thought, what they loved. This is similar to an example of another poetic documentary, New York, New York, directed by Francis Thompson, where, like Watchtower of Turkey, it gives the historical world a fresh view. New York, New York presents a poetic impression of how New York looked in the mid-1950s by putting a heavy emphasis on arranging shots in a particular way to produce a symphony of movement, colour, and mass of volume. In this clip, you'll see how both documentarians utilize the poetic convention of capturing the historical world and existing entities, and then transforming this material in idiosyncratic and individualistic ways. As you can see, there is also similarity shared between these two poetic documentaries in the aspect of sound design, where the clips synchronize with the piece of expressive music being played throughout. Each of these comparisons provide further evidence and cement the actuality of Watchtower of Turkey being a poetic documentary. Assisting to the individuality of the filmmaker, every documentary has its own distinct voice, or style, or grain, and all on its own acts like a signature or fingerprint. Throughout this analysis, it is transparent that D'Alessandri's method is riddled with characteristics and style conventions of the poetic mode. However, it is also evident that throughout this unique and unconventional way of editing through colour and picture associations, smooth transitions, having the piece of music first and then shooting, sound design, hyperlapsing, and crash zooming are all contributors to D'Alessandri's documentary fingerprint. It is these manipulated filmic conventions that give the fragments and snapshot bursts of Turkey and the people an encapsulating aesthetic integrity, which is the most intrinsic element to the poetic documentary mode.